Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Unfuck Yourself podcast. Once again, we are here recording this live for the Unfuck Yourself membership queens. They get to hear it live when we do it. They get a 45-minute Q&A after, where they also get mini intuitive readings and tools from me. And they also get to get in on some tea, especially today. That will not be for the public, but they get to hear some extra stories, some extra tea that we all spill on ourselves in here. So it's a fun time. Today, I'm very excited because I am doing something I don't do often. I've only done it like two other times is I am interviewing two people today. I am interviewing Queen Gianna and Queen Emma, Team Allie's intuitives. They have some really, really cool backstories of their life before intuition, of how intuition saved their lives, of kind of paths they went down, ignoring their intuition or without intuition. And you are going to get to hear from them their firsthand experience, how using their intuition changed their lives, but also you're going to get to learn a lot about them and how far both of them have come in their journey. It's been beautiful to watch. I've known Emma as a best friend since we've been 18, and it's been so cool and beautiful to watch her journey. And I've known Gianna since she's been a student of mine for 2.5 years, three, feels like 10,000, but I think it's like two. But she learned 10,000 years worth of things in 2 years, so it feels like so long. Um, and it's just been so beautiful to watch them change their lives and grow. And I was like, you guys have got to share this. I'm going to be asking them hard and tough questions. And I really hate podcasts that are like the most boring, basic questions. So we won't be doing those. We're going to be doing like good, interesting, juicy questions. They're going to spill tea on themselves and only you get to hear. And it's really good. Um, so I'm very excited. Well, not you on the podcast, but they're going to spill tea for you on the podcast, but then also they're going to spill tea for just the membership queens to hear. And if you're feeling FOMO, you can join the membership and catch the tea on the recording. Okay, so we have Jonna here, we have Emma here, and they're just gonna both go back and forth of answering these questions to make it easy, you guys. So you're not like who answers first. Jonna answer first on the first one, Emma answer second, then just flip who answers first on each question. So then Emma will answer first on the second one. That way, it's not like, oh my God, who wants to go first? Um, okay, so tell me about a time when following your intuition led you somewhere unexpected, but exactly where you needed to be.
Oh, this is perfect to start out. Can everyone hear me okay? First of all, this all sounds good. Amazing. Um, the retreat from 2023. I started, do you know what's so funny? It hasn't even been 2 years. It will be 2 years in May.
That's insane. I feel like
So
you've grown 10,000 years of time in not even 2 years. Okay,
thank
great.
you. So I started working with Allie in May. I found UIA, found her on TikTok. It was incredible. So perfectly aligned. Then like a few months in, she's like, I'm doing an in-person retreat. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I need to be there. Like I just had like this feeling I needed to be there. And I was so scared. Like it was way more money than I've ever spent. I had no money at the time. Like I was not making any income. And I just kept thinking like I need to go, I need to go, I need to go. So I had just started learning intuition from Allie in UIA. And I was like, let me use these tools. Let me get my little pendulum out. It was literally like my phone charger. I'm like sitting there, like watching it like go back and forth. And I was like, okay, let me just see what this says. And I got yeses all across the board. And I was still like on a human level so nervous and so scared, but I was like, okay, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Like I'll get to meet Allie and we'll hang out in a mansion in Malibu and like even if nothing else happens, like it's fine. But truthfully, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm on Team Allie today because Allie and I built such a connection while we were in Malibu together. And it really propelled like my interest in everything, just like being around people who were interested in the same thing and like getting so many shifts in like such a short period of time. And after that, I was like, I have to just keep diving deeper. And it's really like what propelled me to like dive through in everything else and keep going deeper. And funny thing with that too, you hadn't launched a level two, but you were like, we're going to do level three. And you were like, you just need a prereq of level one. So I was like, I'm going to do that. That sounds great. And then that also led me on the journey to keep training my intuition, which I would not have done without that retreat. So that's my answer.
Oh my God, you're right. Gianna literally went level one, level three, and then level two intuition, and then level
So
four.
then when level two came back, she was like, "You haven't taken level two?" I was like, "No, you just skipped over it, but now here I am."
That's great.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the first story that's coming to mind for me, really following my intuition, was before I even really knew what it was. It led me to a dance school in New York City where I actually met Allie. And from there, we both were just like not really feeling dance. And then we both felt the pull to move to LA. And that was when we actually met. I met my first mentor, Al, and then really started to open up my gifts. But without that pull, I probably would have stayed in New York, probably would have continued, try to dance a little bit longer. So literally listening to my intuition that I really didn't even know I had yet led us to LA to then start to open these gifts that like originally freaked me the fuck out, which we'll go over as we get deeper into these questions. I did not stay training my intuition like Allie did. But forever grateful for those original pulls that I just felt so clearly, even though I had no idea that it was my intuition. Those pulls to New York to find Allie, to move together to LA, to then randomly meet our mentor, that completely changed my life.
It's wild how one following one pull can change the trajectory of like your life and speed up timelines massively. Like, I even just remember also like having the pull to leave dance, but having no fucking idea like what I was gonna fucking do. But I just had this pull to
Nothing.
leave dance. And now looking back, if I would, one, I ignored the pull for like 2 years, and I would have been like so much further ahead in career if I didn't ignore that pull for 2 years. But you can have tools like hack and like get back on track, which you can do. It's just like a lot more work. But also, if I would have continued to ignore it, I looked at a potential timeline. I would have just been leaving dance now at 28. And this career and what I've built now wouldn't have been till I was like 40. So it's not even like you're adding on 6 years, you're adding on way more than 6 years because you've missed certain timelines and your potential gets lower and lower each time you don't follow the pull right away. So thank you guys for sharing that. I'm glad you followed your polls.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there a time when ignoring your intuition led to pain, loss, regret, and what did that teach you?
Yes. Many times. I'm gonna start with the most recent story. So I went on a date actually like a year and a half ago, maybe at this point, and right after date one, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, don't go on another one. He's not the one. What did I do? I actually canceled date number two. I'm proud of myself. I listened for like a second. We canceled and then we followed up again. And I was like, oh, he's trying though. He's trying. He's trying. My intuition's like, no, don't go. Don't go. I went out again. And throughout the year that we were together, I just constantly kept ignoring. And it led to me feeling like I was blindsided. It led to me feeling like I was like, no, he was definitely the one. But when I look back right in the beginning, that first date, my intuition was like, do not. My mom was like, run. I ignored her too. She didn't even know him. She saw a picture. She was smart. I don't regret it, but I learned a lot. However, that first led to a year and a half that like I could have, if I listened and trusted myself with that first just gut feeling, that no I felt, would have avoided a lot this past year and a half.
We want details. What would you have avoided? We want details.
Okay, let's get details. I would have avoided. Okay, I'm gonna spill some tea. We'll get right into it for the membership queens only. Yeah, I'm very grateful for it because I know that this was a very necessary part of my journey. I get to help others that also go through this. But if I listened to my intuition, could have expedited that. But we have those tools, and I'm still grateful that I went through it.
Amazing.
Do you want
Thank you.
more details?
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll get more later, but
Okay.
that was great. I have way more rabbit holes to go down.
Good.
The questions are probably very juicy. We're ready.
They are.
Emma's answer actually reminded me of something that I can use for my answer because I swear, like, once I got into this work, I was like, I'm never not trusting my intuition again. Like, now that I have this tool, I was like, I will never ignore it. So before I had my intuition tools, I was in school and I had been dating this guy for pretty much the whole time since I'd been there. But at around the 2.5 year mark, I think, I started thinking, like, do I want to marry this guy? Like, do I really want to be with him? Like, are we really a good fit together? And everyone around me was like, why are you thinking about this? Like, why are you worried about this? And I didn't know why, but that was my intuition being like, probably not your person, probably not the vibe, like, probably not for you. And so I sat there with it and I stayed in that relationship for like a year longer than I felt like I should have. I think it was around the summertime when I started thinking like, do I want to be with him? I don't know. I was like questioning everything. And that summer we took a trip to where his family lives. And I was like crying the night before. I was like so stressed out. I was like, I don't want to go on this trip. But I didn't understand, like I didn't know how to speak higher self at the time. And I was so like comfortable, even though it wasn't really comfortable, but it was so comfortable to be in that relationship, having someone who I could like, hang out with all the time. Our friends were also all friends, like his friends were my friends. And so we had a really tight-knit social group, which made that more comfortable. And we were living in downtown Toronto. So I was like, oh, I have like a little bodyguard with me. Like it was hard for me to give those things up, even though I was miserable for like that whole last year of the relationship. And similar thing, like I felt very empty. I felt like very much not myself. I feel like now that I'm looking at it, I really didn't trust myself that much during that time. And it was probably one of the lowest my self-image times have ever been. So just like very far away from like the best version of myself. And we could have sped up so many more things if I just listened and I just bit the bullet and was like, listen, like this is not for you. I could have had so much growth in that last year by myself, but we didn't. But also fully grateful, like so grateful for all of it. But yeah, definitely not happy during that time. Just a lot of like low feelings, low trusting myself, low self-image, which is not the vibe. We don't like that.
Yeah, I love it because I think like in hindsight, looking back on things that we all know now that we've all three of us have done, where we're like, oh my God, if I had
Mhm.
intuition, like, or if I knew what I knew now, like I would have definitely not done that. Of course, like none of us regret that because it all taught us something and it makes you guys the teachers that you are. But what's great with intuition is you can actually foresee what lessons you would get out of something and then get the lessons instead of having to go through the thing. So you can like be like, oh, if I go down this road for a year, it's going to make me feel like this, and this. It's going to give me this reflection. Okay, let me just fix that now. Let me take a month and fix that now versus having to spend 2 years of my life getting all these reflections in the situation that I maybe don't want to be in and then have to learn from there. So now we've all lived through that and we're like, wait, let me not have to do that anymore. And like, let me speed up and still get the lessons because, obviously our souls are here for growth and lessons. And if we're not growing, we're dying, but still get the lessons, but without having to extend them and go through years of something to get the lesson. We can get it just by foreseeing, okay, what is this happening going to teach me? Okay. Have you ever received I'm scared to ask this because you're probably like, yeah, Allie fucking scares me every day. Have you have you ever received an intuitive message that scared or challenged you? And how did you handle it?
Like half of them at least. I think me doing everything I did in my career before this job is like the pinnacle of this for me because you guys offered me this job while I was just in the beginning of like trying to start my own business. And I thought like my whole, maybe not my whole life, but probably the 10 years prior of my life that I was going to be like an independent person in the world, like that I was going to run my own thing, whether it was like, I honestly thought I was going to be a YouTuber guy. So I was like, I'm going to be a YouTuber. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have my own business. And then this opportunity was presented to me, and I kept getting yeses for everything. Like, it's going to help me grow. It's going to make me feel fulfilled. It's going to be a great time for me. It's going to be better than like what I thought my own business was going to be. And that was terrifying. I had to sit on that decision for like 3 days straight. And Sarah was like, take your time. Like, it's okay. We want you to think this out. I was like, I'm shelling out every single corner of my brain to like really get on the same page with this because my intuition was screaming yes, but it was so scary for my human self because I had never, not never, but I, for a really long time, had not seen myself working for someone else. And that in itself was like an ego blow of like, oh my God, like I have to do something someone else's way and like blah, blah, which like now Allie's way is almost identical to my way. So like it really does feel like I'm doing something for someone else. But yeah, at the time, it was really, really hard for me to fully come to that decision because I think I knew that the whole time, but I was like, are you sure? Like, are we sure that this is the way I want to go? So that would be mine.
I love that. I love that's really good. Gianna and Emma are great examples of people with high level talent in like this kind of work, but they both didn't have the desire to go build it from the ground up. And like she said, there's a lot of people who have a lot of talent, but then they don't have the desire to go build that from the ground up, but who try to, and they spend a lot of time putting them, it's like like putting themselves, it's like a puzzle piece that just isn't fitting in the thing. And people spend a lot of time because they let their ego kind of take over. But what Jonna intuitively was able to look into and realize is, oh, working here is going to get me everything that I wanted and more. I thought my human thought I was going to get it from this, but I'm actually going to get it from this. And that's kind of like, you know, how last week we talked about emotion versus intuition. She did a really good job of not following that initial emotion that, of course, came up for her. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's literally exactly what would have happened to me. Like, I would have pretty much run myself into the ground because I thought that I wanted to lead my own way. But what I really wanted was just like an expansive career. And then what came through was like, listen, you're going to get everything you want and more and easier and faster. So this is why we listen to intuition.
Amazing. Go ahead.
Okay, I feel like I have two. The first time that I heard like my mentor tell me that I was meant to be an intuitive or a healer, I was like, there's no fucking way. Like he was like, you have to quit dance and leave this. And I'm like, absolutely not. And I didn't listen. To be a theme for my life. And then a few years later, I think it was like 2020, I finally was like, okay, like I'm gonna like actually do this. And then I like created my own website. I started to post on TikTok and like it actually blew up pretty quickly. But it was still terrifying me. Like I was showing up, posting these videos and just like shaking inside and the comments were like tearing me apart. I'm like crying in my room. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what have I done? And similar to John, like I always wanted my own company or something. Like when I was like 6 years old, I made like business cards for myself because I knew I wanted to have something. But no matter what I was doing, there was just something that like I couldn't sustain it. And like I knew it wasn't necessarily my gifts. It was just like I wasn't meant to be building it like Allie has done. But the second time was when I fully asked I fully asked for a position, yet when it was actually offered to me, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like waiting for like I took like the full 5 days or like however long it was. I took every single day and I was like, do I actually want this? Do I actually want this? And my ego was like, no, no. And I was like, no, like you have been doing this and like are you where you want to be? And that was fully my intuition that like led me to finally just sign. And then my life has quite literally not been the same. I feel like I have like expedited timelines like insanely in like the past like 2 3 months because I took that pull. Like I listened to my intuition finally, and it has never been the same since.
Okay. Before you trusted your intuition, what was the biggest struggle in your life? And then once you found intuition, how did intuition help you through that?
Okay. Um, take a second. So when I wasn't listening to my intuition, like besides everything I've talked about, it was more so just like the way that I was showing up. My self-image, my love for myself was like down the fucking like drain. Is that the word? Drain trash?
Drain, trash,
Human
toilet.
words like don't come up. I sound like but I there was a huge part of me that was just ignoring my intuition, and it led me down a path with depression and major anxiety. I thought that I had asthma, which like I technically did, but I would have like major anxiety attacks and I would end up just going to the hospital. Like I swear I was there like 3 times a week and they were just like, this is not asthma, you have anxiety. And I was like, no. I'm like talking to them. Like I'm like, no, no, hyperventilating. I'm like, no, I don't. But arguing. They knew my name. I was a regular. And it was because I was not listening to my intuition. So I had the depression, I had anxiety, I had major body dysmorphia, eating disorder. There was just so many things that were happening externally that I now, using my intuition and like following my path, that wouldn't come up. And if it does, like I know how I have tools to shift it. But at that place, it's like you just feel like you have no control, no power over your life and what happens. And besides that, it's like I was constantly questioning my next move. I moved back and forth, I swear to God, more than anyone I knew. And it was like in the same places. Like I was in between 3 years, I moved 6 different times from New York to LA because I thought like everything would change magically. I'm like, no, if I just move here, my whole life will be different. Unfortunately, I was also following myself every time I'd move. So like my energy was also moving with me. And I'm just like, I don't understand what the fuck is happening. I thought my life would change. But no, I wasn't like none of those pulls, those past like 6 times, that wasn't my intuition. That was just like me not knowing the difference between my ego and all of my emotions that were clouding my intuition because I wasn't using it. So my life then versus now, before I do anything, I'm taking a full read. I'm like, what percentage of happiness will I have if I do this? It's just like my nervous system as a whole is so much calmer. It's not like I know all of the answers, but it's like you have that internal GPS system that helps you and it expedites your life like anything else.
I love that. I relate to that so much. I can't even believe how much of a victim I was the whole time of my life before finding intuition. I wrote this down because I didn't want to lose it as it came through. I have two, but they're really very much connected. My biggest physical struggle before intuition was money and career. I had just finished working in retail and I hated it. And I was not valued there at all, which is a sign that I didn't value myself, which I know now. Um, and so I tried like three different businesses because I thought I wanted to bake cookies and then I thought I wanted to make a blog and then I thought I wanted to run this kind of thing on my own. But when I found Allie, I was running a blog and I thought I wanted to do it, but my intuition at the time was telling me I didn't, which I didn't know. But so I was like, I just can't make money. Like for the life of me, like I desire, that was my biggest desire ever at the time was like a thriving career that I just love. Um, and that was all the thing that I worked through UIA was like career and money. And connected to that I didn't realize was connected to that is my childhood trauma, which hello plays like a major role in everyone's life. So I found out through using intuition that one of the biggest things that came up for me was like a through line theme was that I don't feel secure because I lost a parent when I was 6. So if you don't feel secure, there's no way you're going to be able to have money because security is a feeling underneath money. Like if we think we want money, we think we actually want security. That was my problem. Um, and so finding intuition, first of all, I got to figure out that the problem wasn't the money. It wasn't, and it's funny because I look back on it and I had no income when I was in school, but I somehow never dropped below $1,000 in my bank account. Like I was fantastic with money. I just thought I wasn't. So I worked through all of that. I figured out what the actual things were, not feeling secure, not feeling special, like a lot of those things going on. And then that is what led me to this job, which is amazing. But then also, I am seeing how important the trauma piece is. And like, if we ignore healing our trauma, we can only get so far. Like, because I did a lot of work and I made a lot of headway and I had a lot of growth, but I couldn't, literally could not receive the money until I accepted certain things about my trauma, like not feeling secure and not feeling special. Special was like one of the biggest things that like sent my career stuff over the edge. And I remember Allie and I had a session right before I got this job and she was like, "You don't feel special." And I was like, that makes so much sense, but I never thought of that because lost a parent, I'm the middle child, so I was like middle child syndrome all day long. And I was like, "Oh, wow." And I swear to you, 2 weeks later, Allie's like, "Do you want a job?" Like literally just clicked. Like she was like, "I didn't even think of this until you shifted these ingredients." So many helpful things. And I'm still working through so much of the trauma now. Like there is we are a ways of away from like being fully healed. I think the last time I checked it was like maybe around 50%, which is like way better than I would guess for myself. But yeah, now like I can see everything as like a puzzle piece of like, okay, security is one of the biggest things that I'm like healing throughout my life. So let me like take that into the little things I'm doing every day. And how can I heal this more each time I like get a new set of ingredients? And each time reflections come up, a lot of them are linked to that, which happen very frequently in my relationship. So now I can look at it using intuition. You have a much more neutral lens of like what's going on, and you can actually kind of like remove yourself in a way of like you can kind of see it as like a puzzle or like something in front of you versus like it happening within you. And that makes everything so much easier to work through, which is incredible.
Okay, wait, real quick. I just need to tell this story about Gianna. She comes to me for a session. Like, this is 2 weeks before I hired her, but even thought about hiring her, even thought about needing a position for what she's doing. Okay. Had no thought of this literally at all. She just comes to do a session with me, and I'm like, okay, let's get you ingredients to plug in to get you rooted to how great and of intuitive you are for your own business, to get you making money in your own business. Like, basically, getting her ingredients to basically like go build her own business because that's what she like wanted to do. And so I like get all these ingredients for her and that her creator field is low in. She naturally, both of them do this. I give them something and they fucking go do it like in 2 seconds and just shift their energy in like literally 5 minutes naturally. So Jonna programmed all these ingredients. 2 weeks later, me and Sarah like brainstorm. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I need to hire Jonna. I'm like, we need a team intuitive and it's Jonna. Like I just like she didn't audition. Oh my God. She didn't apply. You have to audition. She didn't audition. She didn't apply. I was literally like, oh my God. And but that was her. That was her shifting her creative field. I would not have, even if I had that idea, I would not have thought of her if she did not program and shift her creative field. So she changed her whole entire life. And we were programming her field to make 6 figures and, she making even more than that. So it's wild how intuition can literally, like she was saying, just jump timelines insanely. That's my favorite story about you to share.
Thank you. It's also my favorite story.
Okay. What was the first moment in your life when you realized, holy fuck, intuition is real?
Oh my God, I love this because mine was like as soon as we started. Well, I probably have another one, but this is like my simple one. As soon as you started teaching it in UIA, or actually it wasn't even UIA, it was the free workshop you used to run on Instagram for 5 days. and you were like, tomorrow we're going to do intuition. And I was like, freaking great. I've been like, I had this call to like lean into my intuition more, but I didn't know what that meant. I literally thought it meant I'm going to intuitively choose what clothes I'm going to wear that day. Like, I'm just going to like feel out what I like. That's what I thought intuition was. But anyway, so we're going through the thing, and Allie used to teach like a pendulum method. And I did it, and I saw the thing move, and I was like, I'm sorry, am I a wizard? Like, what just happened? Like, I was mind blown. And I was like, no, I'm in. I swear to you, that's literally what sent me over the edge. And I was like, I am in this program. I don't know what's going on, but this woman knows what she's talking about, and I'm in. If I can move this thing, like I can get some other stuff going. I probably have a deeper answer than this. But that was like my first like mind-blowing moment. Somebody said LOL Wizard G. That's my favorite thing.
She goes, I'm sorry, am I a wizard?
I literally was so confused. I was like, there's no way this is real. Um, oh, and then Chloe, these aren't like really deep examples, but they're really fun for me and like really what like helped push me on the path of like really, really going into it. Around the time that I started learning that, I was like, oh, my friend's birthday is like around this time. I wonder if we're gonna have like a thing this weekend. And I go, I'm intuitively testing, like, I will see my friends on Saturday. And I got a yes. And the next day, I went out to dinner with my two friends who would be invited to this thing. And one of them goes, oh, it's so and so's birthday on Saturday. We're gonna have a party. And I was like, it works. It works. That's it. I'm in. I'm sold. Sign me up.
I love that. Those are my favorite kind of intuition stories, like the ones that's like not that deep. They're just
It's
funny.
so
My
little, but it's
favorite.
so good.
Okay, I think one of mine, I don't remember what we were doing, but we were living in North Hollywood. And I think we were just doing like mind reading games. And we were just like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking? And then, like, it was a little deeper than that with like the tools that we were doing, but we would think the same thing. And then we were like, oh my God, like, this is real. It was like, we would
That
do
was me and
that for
Emma's Friday
so
night.
long. I was like, okay, cool. Love this. We would do that a lot, like little games like that. And then a little bit like bigger of one that I realized when intuition was like not just for like yes or no answers, but like actually like healing the body. I like grew up constantly on like antibiotics, like constantly sick and needing steroids, this and that. And then I started to tap into my body and like learn what my body was telling me. And the more that I was uncovering my traumas from like growing up, I was healing all of these physical ailments that I was just like, I did not know you could ever heal this. Like, I started taking allergy medicine when I was like 6 or 8 years old because I was allergic to my backyard, like growing up. I'm like, how fitting for me. How nice. I was like allergic to like gluten. I all of a sudden was allergic to cinnamon, like out of nowhere, like nuts, this, that. And I was like, why am I allergic to so many things? It's annoying. And then I started to like tap in. And then all of a sudden, I was like starting to heal my body. And I was like, oh my God, like this shit works. Like, I still like really don't take any sort of medication unless it's like I'm like down bad, like the reflection is like in my face, like, bitch, you need to like get this cleared out. But I was like, oh my God, like this is cool. Like, we're healers.
We're healers. I love that. That's so good. Wait, okay, you guys, not one time, a lot of times, me and Emma, when we first started learning and training our intuition, we would go to intuition class Sunday night, right? We would come home and get blackout drunk. Like, we were like 19, 20 years old. We go to intuition, learn intuition, come home, and we didn't like really drink a lot at all then anyway, but something
No.
about coming home after intuition, we would like crave alcohol. And now I was like, now looking back, we were like, what the fuck was that? And it was probably, honest to God, we were learning intuition, opening ourselves up, but we didn't know how to clear ourselves of dark forces. So we were like opening ourselves up, practicing intuition. Then all of a sudden, these dark forces would probably attach to us. And then we'd like go on a bender drinking Sunday nights. Like,
And then
which
we'd go
is,
to In-N-Out because we had to get our burgers and
and we go
shakes
to
and
In-N-Out after.
fries.
We'd get our neighbor, Nikki's
Nikki.
Nikki's girlfriend's brother to ex-girlfriend at the girlfriend at the time to drive us to In and Out. Like it was so fucking weird. But now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, this is what it looks like when you train your intuition without dark force knowledge, which is why in all the intuition levels you also clear dark forces because
like you have to have
we're not
both.
gonna.
Like it makes sense knowing what we know now, why all of a sudden we'd spend like 3 hours practicing our intuition, asking questions, and then all of a sudden we're like, yeah, let's get drunk. Like
We
what?
would crave it. And like, I've never been one to crave alcohol, but like Sunday nights after intuition training, like we were like,
They shouldn't go
Fireball?
together, but
It was so weird. But it was because there was dark forces on us. So we clear those now. Okay. What's the biggest fear or block you see in people who want to develop their intuition but aren't?
Ooh. Feeling like they could never be them, like they're not important enough, not special enough, they weren't born with that talent. That's typically the top one. Even for myself, I was like, there's no way. Like, I'm not, like, to me, it was almost like a sin growing up, you know, like Catholic or Christian. I'm like, like, what is this stuff? I'm going to hell. Like, I was so nervous to tell my grandma. I'm like, she's going to pray for me every night. She actually did for a long time. I would call her after classes, which story for everyone. If you're not fully rooted, like, don't tell people in your circle or your family because they're just going to like come right down on you, because if you're not fully rooted to it, they're going to be like, no, that's not real. And I was like, that's exactly all of the things that I was getting back to me. But knowing that you are like, you don't have to do anything to be worthy of having your intuition. All it is training it and learning the right questions to ask. Yeah.
1,000,000%. Um, I've actually seen this a lot recently. It's when people don't trust themselves. And if you, a lot of people actually don't realize that they don't trust themselves, but like this comes up a lot for people and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And then it like kind of like sinks in. But if you don't trust yourself in general in life, like if that's like a programming you have going on, there's no way you're going to be able to trust your intuition. Like you're not going to trust anything that comes through if you don't trust yourself. And I think that can be a subconscious block for a lot of people where they have this running programming of not trusting themselves and it just seeps into everything. So if they even have a desire to train their intuition, but they don't trust themselves, they're going to hold themselves back because they're going to subconsciously be like, I can't do it. Like, that's not for me. Like, maybe it's not the time. But trust is like one of the biggest parts of intuition for sure.
Have you ever had an intuitive hit that didn't make sense at the time, but later you realized it was right?
I feel like I definitely have, but what is it? This one might take me a second to think about. Do you know yours?
I'm also thinking, I guess I'll go with this one that came up. So let's just
Yeah. You go first.
Um, I was in a session with my old mentor, Al, and he was like, you really need to read this book, The Language of the Animals. And I was like, I like really don't like animals. Like I am terrified of birds like flying by me. I will scream. So I'm like, you want me to read a book about how to communicate with animals? I'm like, okay. Like I like a little like cute dog. I'm like, fine. But like most of the time I'm like, stay away from me. And he's like, yeah, that's just because you're not like in your path and like trusting your intuition in yourself. And I'm like, thank you. But I got the book and I'm starting to read it. And I was like, oh my God, like the book, it was about learning how to communicate with animals, but it was more so for me to learn how to read people's bodies and see like what traumas they were holding, what emotions, and like what it meant. But when he first told me that, I was like, no way. Like, you don't know who I am. I hate animals. I'm not going to sit here and read this book. I read it I actually had to read it like 4 times because the first time I went around and I was just like, he doesn't know me. He doesn't understand me. Why would I need this? And then second time around, I'm like, oh, okay. I could see how I could use this like for humans, like not necessarily animals. So
People want to know the name of the book. Do you remember the name of the book?
Um, I think it's the language of the animals or how to communicate with animals.
Is it the
I
secret?
have
Someone
it.
said the secret language of animals. Is it that?
Hold on. I actually have it. Hold on. Can I go ahead and grab it?
Go grab it. The
So
animal
I can
book.
share her story and I'll bring it back. Hold on.
I love this show and tell we have going on here.
It's a show and tell.
The one that came to me was actually before I was training my intuition, but it happened like clear as day. So I think it's a really good example for this. I was trying to sell cookies at the time. And my friend and I would have like little photo shoots to like put on my Instagram and like, put on whatever. And we took a picture. We also like would just take more for fun. So we took a picture. I think it was like she was wearing high heels, like her feet were in the air, and it was just like super cute. And it just looked like it belonged on a blog. And clear as day download was like, I should start a blog, which made no sense at the time because I was like, why would I start a blog if I'm trying to sell cookies? Like, and also thinking about the trajectory of my life, like that doesn't make any sense at all. Um, and so I was like, that's weird. But for some reason, I just like went with it. But now, if you look back on like my life's path, the blog led me to Allie because I did so bad at it in terms of like success that I got so annoyed that I was like, I need to do something about this. And this cute little blonde girl showed up on my TikTok and she was like, I can help you. And I said, okay. And here we are.
That's great. Oh my God. Oh, we got the
We have the
name.
book.
Yeah. This cute little girl. Or not a little girl, it's like a woman, but she's holding a cat. And it's the language of the animals. And then it says 7 steps to communicating with animals. It's really
There
good.
we go. And that book tests really high for like it being good information. So
I love that.
go get it. Okay. I want both you guys to share something that maybe you would deem as vulnerable, but we like to share vulnerable things here all the time. Share something that you would deem as vulnerable that following that soul pull helped you get through, or using your intuition to heal something helped you get through. Then share something that's extra vulnerable that's only for the membership. So vulnerable for everyone, extra vulnerable just for here. Um, why I like to do this with myself or with anybody is because I think what can happen is people start to compare their week 1 or year 1 or year 2 to someone else's year 10, 12, 11, 13, or whatever, or even their hour 1 of training something to someone else's hour fucking 10,000 of training something. And when we share things that are like, no, like I have massively worked through this or I've been through this, then everyone else is like, oh, okay, well, if you did it, then so can I. And I think that's really important for everybody to hear to also get to know you guys more since it's the first time I'm having you guys on the podcast.
I thought I knew which was which, but I think I just flipped them, which is super interesting. So, the one for everyone, when I was starting with Team Allie, I think I was really, really, well, I don't think because my intuition will prove that I definitely was. I was really questioning my abilities and my talent and like Allie trusts me so much and like put me in such a crazy position that I would not have put myself in. And that was terrifying to me. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome come up. And I was like, I'm definitely not where I need to be to start this. And so a lot of that stuff is coming up. And I had someone that I was working with around this time, like not like a in an intuitive way, like I was leading them in an intuitive way. And they were asking a lot of questions and they were maybe interrupting, I don't remember, but doing a lot of things that I felt were like really aggressive and like really definitely questioning my authority. That was the feeling that came up for me. And I was like, well, she doesn't think I'm good at my job and she doesn't think that I can do this and she doesn't think that blah, blah, blah. I didn't think that I could do that, which is so interesting when like you look at it through the intuitive lens. And it's so simple when like you know the formula and it's like, well, you think someone else is doing something is actually like you feel that way about yourself. Um, and so I just felt like I was so challenged by this person, and I felt like they were trying to get me to mess up in a weird way. And when you look through the intuitive lens, it was so simple of like, you don't think you're at the standard that you actually are. You don't think you're an authority. And so it was actually like a really simple switch of like, okay, how do you prove to yourself how you are capable of this, how you are the best of the best, how you are an authority? And that switched it actually really quickly. And then this person like never bothered me again. Like they could say anything and I was just like, meh, whatever. Do you want us to do both or do you want us to go back and forth?
Do both.
Okay, here's my super vulnerable time only for the membership friends. But it's like super crazy how like obviously it's a big thing, but it's like one thing happens in your life and it like stays with you forever and you're like, "Oh, well like I've healed that. That's fine." And then it just pops back up. So that is mine.
I fucking love that. Thank you for sharing. And what I love too that you pointed out is for the people who desire to hack the system and kind of be their most elite self in life and choose to train their intuition for that. Like we got to find the root of the thing that's going on versus like
Yeah,
spending a bunch of time like trying to just heal. We think it's like a relationship problem, so we just try and heal and do relationship
totally.
stuff over and over again. We go to relationship courses, but like the problem still isn't healing. But it's like with intuition, you go, oh no, he's just literally acting out a story that I've had since I've been 6 years old. Here's the exact story. It's 100% testing as the story. Now I can shift this, and a domino effect shifts to everything. So I love that you shared that.
Thank you. I'm seeing little shifts, but guys, I literally just found this out like a month ago. So we're working through it. But there are times when I see like he's like better. He's like obsessed with me. And I'm like, oh, it's working. But
We love to see it.
this is like my whole life, as Ali said. Like this is like the theme I have had my whole life. So it's gonna take a while to work through, but we're on the
Yeah,
ups.
it's her biggest soul lesson. Like it's
Mhm.
like one of those biggest soul lessons for her for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, wait, Allie, I was listening to Gianna's story so much I forgot what the questions even were. I'm just like, I loved it so much. I'm like, wait, Emma, you still have to talk.
No, I was literally shocked you guys remembered each time the question because I definitely wouldn't have.
No, I had to write some down. It was a lot. It was a
I
lot of
wrote them
like
down. That's good.
dual brain.
Share a vulnerable story that you deem as vulnerable, um,
And then
where
fever,
following
right?
your intuition kind of like pulled you out of it or got you out of it. And then same thing, but like an even more one for the membership only.
Okay. Um, okay, I feel like they're both pretty deep, but one of them I could lay a little bit layered. So the first one I'm getting to talk about. So I grew up dancing and I just never fully felt like I was good enough ever. And I used that to like want to fill me up. And like that was completely my identity. And then when I lost my passion for it, I just felt like I didn't have an identity. And then I tried to put my identity then in being an intuitive, but then I also wasn't trusting myself behind that and knowing that like I actually was gifted and good enough. And so that feeling just kept following me and then led me into a pretty deep depression where I completely hated myself. I didn't like see another, like at that moment in my life, I was just like, I don't want to continue. And I did hurt myself. I was just in a very dark place. And it really started with just wanting to feel that love. And I was not trusting my intuition. I was just trying to place my happiness and try to make everything outside of me fill me up. And I was not listening to my intuition. And I just kept that feeling of just wanting everything around me to fill me up, because I just never felt those things ever. And so when I started to finally use my tools and like look at, okay, why do you actually feel this way? Because truthfully, I had no idea. I had no idea why I was feeling like I wasn't worthy enough, why I couldn't love myself, why I hated myself. I didn't know where that started. And using these tools, diving into my intuition, and just learning how to start to love myself was the hardest thing ever. When I looking at myself and doing the mirror work and saying that I loved myself, I barely could do that. Like it was like that for a very long time. And the big shift for me was when I started to look at nothing else matters outside of you. It's only within. I don't know if that answered your question, actually.
It did. It did. What when you started to look at that, like nothing outside of you matters, it's only within.
Mm-hmm.
What pulled you to do that? Like what part of was it in knowing? Was it like just feeling I have to go do this? Like what intuitive thing kind of came over you where you were like that enough's enough, like I need to go do this?
It was a similar pull to what brought me to New York, what brought me to LA. It was that inner knowing that I always had, but I didn't fully know what it was. In those moments when I was just like, I genuinely don't want to do this anymore, that same pull, like, quite literally kept me alive. And that was my intuition, but I fully, like, I knew it was, but I still was having that hard time trusting that that was my intuition that was telling me to keep going, that was telling me to find a mentor, that was telling me to pay attention to the tools I already had. Because like we can have all the tools in the world, but if we're not really doing them every day and emotionally connecting to them, you can have all of them and it won't change your life. And I quite literally have had all of them for years and years and years. And until I actually started to emotionally connect to them, that's when I started to see major changes in my self-image, like actually like loving myself, feeling special, like feeling valuable, and really trusting my gifts.
That's so good. That's so good. Thank you. Now we want to hear something for just membership.
I know. I feel like that one was like that one got weirdly deep for just the podcast. I'm like,
Real deep, real quick.
But we love going deep here.
oh, okay. Um, okay, this is just membership, right?
Hmm.
Okay. I'm like, this is not going anywhere.
Keep it between us.
The more you ignore it, it does get lower and lower, where you're like, was that my intuition or am I just hearing things in my head? I have no idea. But that, bring myself back. I swear my intuition could pull my brain. So I'm like, I'm gonna wrap up the story. But back to just hitting those rock bottoms. The last time I was just like, if you don't get your shit together, your life is not going to look the way you want it to. There's only so many times that you will still have this opportunity. Like there's only so many times that you could put yourself in this situation. Like, you feel that you have these pulls, just take the leap and do it. And after, like, I've lived in Miami now for 3.5 years, and I finally took that pull, or listened to that pull. I took that leap, and it's actually insane. Like when you when you train your intuition, you expedite like crazy, like absolutely crazy. And that's my favorite part about it, because when you're in these trainings, like we have like intuition level 1 through 5, when you listen to that, like, yes, you're learning your tools that helps you in your day-to-day life, but you're expediting like you would never believe. Like, you don't have to be running back and forth. And if you are, it's okay. But you have these tools and the energy protection behind it to really jump on your soul path. And that's why I think it's the best thing that we have to offer, like hands down. And it's incredibly special to me because it quite literally saved my life time and time again when I didn't think I could keep going. Like my intuition, that like inner pull is like the only reason that I'm here.
You're making me cry.
I know, I'm trying.
Um, it's just wild because I've literally seen you like go down this thing of like not clearing yourself and not like listening. And you guys, like her eyes in photos would be black. Like it wasn't Emma. And the way that she has like completely just turned her life around in like right before my fucking eyes in like a matter of months. Like, because I knew Emma, then I was like, where the fuck's Emma? But I always knew she was in there. But then like now she's like back. She has literally in a few months, like before, in a few months before, she's like thriving now. But I've watched like the time where she kind of hit this and then like was like, fuck this, I'm done, and like followed that pull, like has just completely transformed her life and like came back to herself so fucking quick. But this is like what can happen when you're a natural empath and intuitive, but you don't have the tools. Like you don't have the tools to like shield yourself and protect yourself and clear yourself and know like what's intuition, what's dark forces, what's other people's energy. And so I watched literally in front of my eyes in person in our room in North Hollywood. Like I watched Emma literally like get clouded and clouded and clouded by other people's stuff, by dark forces, by other things that were like making her do all these decisions and be all these things that like she actually isn't at all. And that's what happens to so many intuitives, like to so many just naturally gifted and naturally empathetic people, is your energy is so sensitive. You feel everything so deeply. You don't know how to clear yourself. You don't know the right tools to protect your own intuition, to shield yourself, to clear yourself of the dark stuff. And then it's all encompassing and it just takes over. And even if you don't use intuition to like read yourself or other people, at least learn it to know if someone else's shit is on you or if a dark force is on you, because that's what happens. And with intuition, you can literally just learn how to blow it up, clear it, boom, 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 done so quickly, so easily. Really, with intuition, you can literally be like, oh, this is, let me just clear myself. Let me just do this real quick. And then you're like literally good. Like, literally, Emma just cleared herself and she was
It's
fine.
insane.
Like it's wild. And it's so much easier than to just go heal the self-image wounds or heal the other stuff. You know what I mean? Like having to fight against those things and all this other energy that's on you and you don't know why and you don't know why you're feeling so deeply and all that while also trying to reprogram other stuff. But yeah, I mean, she like cleared herself. She's like, oh, I'm better now. Like, okay, great.
Just as a testament to that, I haven't known Emma. I almost said owned. I haven't known Emma very long. I think we've known each other since October. And I can see such a massive difference from when I first met you to when you started with us to now. It's unbelievable. And like even you just coming to me and like telling me everything that happened, and you were just like, yeah, that's gonna be fine. Like it's so cool and amazing to see. And like as someone who hasn't known you long, like to be able to see that much proves like how huge of things that you're doing. So I hope you're proud of that.
Love you so much.
I love you.
It's a big love fest at Team Allie.
It
It's
is.
just one big love affair.
It's my favorite.
Okay, I have a few more questions for you guys before we wrap up. There's a lot going on here. I've had to skip. I had a lot. We've picked
Girl, we
the
need a
good
5 hour
ones.
block for this.
I know. I'm like, oh, I'm trying not to keep everyone here for 27 hours. Um, okay. Okay. So as you know, Gianna and Emma, well, what happened? Okay, backtrack. What happened was we were like, okay, Intuition Level 1 course is launching. It launches once a year. There's 40 spots because I like to keep it small group because it's intuition training and I'm very, very, what's the word? Not articulate, meticulous, meticulous. I'm very, very meticulous when it comes to intuition training because there is a right way to use your intuition. Like, I'm sorry, people in the spiritual matrix will be like, there's no wrong way to use your intuition. Well, there's emotions that get in the way, and you think your emotions are your intuition, and they're not. So there is a source aligned way to learn your intuition. And that's not me saying you can only learn it from me. I'm sure you can learn it from a lot of fucking people, but there is a source aligned way to use intuition. And so anyway, it's only 40 spots because of that, long story short. So we can go in there, like you get the digital recordings and teachings of me teaching it when I taught it live at one point, but then you meet up with Gianna or Emma live and you do the Q&A, and then you get to train and you get to be put in breakout rooms and give a read and get a read every week, which is really, really fun. And the teacher goes around in each breakout room and basically corrects your form, adds in, like pushes you a little bit, kind of like a coach. Anyway, that's why there's only 40 spots. So Jana's sold out in literally, well, you guys basically sold it out. And then 2 minutes of the email even going to the waitlist. The intuition waitlist group didn't even get it because you guys basically in the membership sold it out because the membership always gets it first with also a special price. So membership gets first access with a special price, always, no matter what. You guys basically sold it out. Then within 2 minutes of the email going out to the waitlist and doors opening to the intuition level 1 waitlist, it got sold out in 2 minutes. So we were like, okay, let's open another one. So I was like, hey, Emma, your turn. So Emma is also now leading an advanced intuition level 1, which will be sold out in probably an hour because there is literally 8 spots left. So, or maybe less at this point. There were 8 spots left like before we started this. So who knows how many now. But anyway, my point of sharing this is I want to ask Emma and Gianna, what's one thing this course will give people that they didn't realize they needed? Because my thing with intuition is like, it's the thing that you don't realize you need. Like, I didn't walk into my life at 19 years old and be like, I need intuition. Like, I wasn't like, I need to learn how to develop my intuition. No, it was like, I'm tired of not getting what I want. I'm tired of the same thing happening and not knowing why. I'm tired of being extra sensitive. Like, what the fuck do I do about it? And it's not like people are like, oh, I need intuition. Like, you're not thinking that. So, hence my question, what's one thing this course will give people that they didn't even realize they needed?
The biggest one, and I think there's a huge misconception with intuition, and people think like, oh, well, I'm not going to be a healer, or like, I don't want to be an intuitive, so why do I need it? The thing with having intuition is, if you, not that it, words, it helps change your entire life in every single area. So it doesn't matter if you're not necessarily wanting to be an intuitive or a healer, you have that tool in your pocket to make decisions in your life, and you don't need anyone else to make those decisions. And it helps you with your energy, which, whether we realize it or not, we are energetic beings and we feel everything. And most of the time, we do not even know what our energy is connected to, making decisions based off of, we are probably corded into so many people and we're making decisions based off that, which is not actually what you are feeling and supposed to be doing in the first place. So learning how to understand and clear your energy, which is why it's a part of the course, that alone changes your entire life. And then having the tools to make your own decisions. No one wants to rely on anyone. And having that will change your life. So those two things, you don't need to be an intuitive or a healer. Having that, like I would take it every day. Or I do take it every day. I use it all day long. I'm like, I would do that.
Surprise.
Someone,
you know.
But yeah, energy itself, like that is probably the one thing that people don't realize enough, how much it affects your day-to-day life and decisions.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And like kind of similar to that, I also have two, but you gain a massive sense of empowerment that is like unlike anything you would get anywhere else, to be so honest, because you no longer have to rely on any single person or thing around you to make any decisions. And like I even use it for silly things. Like when I find myself getting overwhelmed with a decision, I remember that I have intuition and I'm like, "Oh, I don't need to spend an hour stressing about this stupid thing." And it's things that like don't really matter. Like I I spent probably at least 40 minutes channeling what tops I should get when I was online shopping because I wanted one top to match my workout pants and it was a whole thing. But any decision that you have in front of you, you never have to think about someone else's opinion, someone else's guidance, someone else's advice, what's going to be good for you, especially like on the internet. Like you never have to look at someone on the internet and go, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. Like, and with TikTok, it's like there's 50 million different answers to the same question and no one knows what's right. Like, you don't have to listen to any of that. And you get this insane sense of empowerment because you start to answer those questions for yourself and then you're like, wait, I can just figure it out on my own. And then you get this sense of like, I can figure everything out on my own because it can start with the small things, but then it leads to the big things of like, okay, where do I want to move? What job do I want? Like, what's going to work best for me? What do I need in my family? What do my kids need? Like, you start small, but then you scale it on a massive level. And that is one of the most powerful things that we could have ever, let alone like from intuition. And then also something really fun that's like really unexpected that people don't think you're going to get out of it is a sense of community. And it's really, really cool because you can get so close with people so quickly because you're literally sitting there and being like, hey, this is my trauma. What's yours? Like everyone is like sharing their deepest things that's going on because that's how we transform the most. And everyone who's coming to intuition class knows that and is so good about it and is like, listen, I'm ready to share everything. And so you gain these like really crazy bonds with people really fast. And then you get together after class and you're training your intuition together, which builds a new bond and like a whole other level. And then you end up like talking to them all the time and you get your best friends. And it's like you didn't even think that it was possible. So you weren't even going into it being like, I'm gonna make friends. Like you're just there. You're like, honestly, you're probably there being like, I don't know what I'm doing, like Jesus take the wheel kind of vibes. So you're not even like thinking that you're gonna gain friendships, but like you really do, and it can happen so quickly, which is so amazing. And then you really find your soul family that way, and you can have, even if it's not really close friendships, you're gonna have a sense of community where you just feel like seen and held and like people understand you. And that in itself is priceless too.
The community's wild. Like I used to take everyone through all the intuition levels, but now Queen G and M do. But I have watched like G's round of people. They're all best friends. They literally hang out. They go on trips to literally see each other. Like,
It's so
and
beautiful.
it's wild. And I see it every time. Like I'm right now, um, when you get me live, it's intuition level 4 and 5 now. It was 3, 4, and 5, but now it's just gonna be 4 and 5. Um, but even like I just finished level 3 and now we're in level 4. Those women are literally like they have a group chat, intuitive besties, and they all practice with each other like 3 times a fucking week. Like they practice way before they even get into the live practice with me. They've already practiced it like 27 times. And they when some of them were at the retreat, like they were all staying together. Like you develop these just these like deep soul level friendships really naturally, which is really helpful because it can feel really lonely to go on this like alone. And the community is 10 out of 10 recommend like having Emma and Nikki and my friend Georgia and our friend Julie and all these people like early on and us just kind of really developing our intuition and doing that. Like it made you when you got to practice and you got to like train with each other, and it also made you like not feel fucking weird because you have other people who are doing it now too. Um,
Yeah.
okay.
Can I add to that for a
Yeah,
second?
yeah, yeah.
It's funny because I always actually forget that we are not the majority of the world because obviously like this is my job now, but even before, like when I had so many people around me like training intuition, I forgot that like most of the people of the world are not doing this because you're just when you're obsessed with it, you just like get so into it. And then I would go to like a party with my friends from high school and I would go, all of you would think I'm crazy if I started talking about this. And I realized that like not everyone is in this bubble. So you can really like get in the zone of like people who get it. And it's just so cool.
Yeah, no, that's such you forget you're not the majority of the world for sure.
Literally.
I'm like, this is just what it is. But then what's cool too is you actually end up appreciating your other relationships too. Like, because right now you might feel like, oh, like these people don't get it. They don't, whatever. They don't get me. Like, I feel misunderstood. But when you're with people who then get you feel understood, you're talking about it so much that then like you get it out of your system and then you can just go talk to your family or to your other friends and like enjoy their presence, not having to talk about this because you get that fill somewhere else too. So it helps you enjoy all your relationships way more as well. But again, like I always say, oh, spot taken. Well, there we go, Brittany. Congrats. Welcome. What I always say is I am a big proponent on this, and I will straight up tell everyone, like, don't come to the course if you aren't ready. Like, if you're not ready to truly take radical responsibility, don't come if you're not ready to start to see your elite potential and start to really be and live by that. Because you don't want to like be ruining it for the people in there who are. So, of course, per usual, only come if you are ready for that. Okay. Now we're going to hop in to the Q&A that the membership, Unfuck Yourself membership queens get. After, if you feel FOMO, we'll link that for you in the show notes. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.